Hey, it's Rebecca. So, the way insecurity addicts see and experience the world is very skewed. We don't see much good in ourselves. But then we get upset and resentful if people point out things that we didn't do well or something we did that was wrong. And then we fixate on that and sweat bullets and, either lash out or internalize and kind of shrivel up like a slug. Because every single, even constructive criticism, is seen as an attack. Because most of us are usually very used to being attacked our whole lives, especially as children. Like, my self-hatred was so crazy. I said before that I couldn't even look at my face in the mirror because it was so hideous. And I look back at photos of myself now, and it's amazing because I was beautiful. I had no idea I was beautiful, so it didn't really make a difference. I only saw flaws. But now it's so wonderful to look back and see all these good things that I hadn't seen before. Sure, I was beautiful. Didn't matter because I didn't see it at the time. I always thought it was horrible. But also, kind things that I did, the many, many kind things that I've done throughout my life, and how important it is to recognize that, the good things that you have done. And, before I started doing the insecurity exercises and everything I did was flawed. Nothing was done correct. And then I gravitated toward people who would build that wall even higher. People who said, yeah, you never do anything right. You're too fat, you're too stupid, you're too incompetent. You suck at this, you suck at that. Your friends are only friends because they feel sorry for you, but they really don't like you. That kind of nonsense, you believe it. When you're an insecurity addict who does not have your insecurity under control, you believe everything negative they say. And when people say nice things, you don't really believe it. And it's hard for you to accept it. But that's a really good insecurity exercise to do, is to accept a compliment, is to look in the mirror and find something that is not flawed or ugly or horrifying, whatever you see when you look in the mirror, which is usually flaws. So that's a good insecurity exercise to do, is to force yourself to recognize something good about yourself. Hopefully more than one, but do it every single day. MRIs have just revolutionized the study of the human brain. Like they've discovered that, artist brains are actually different than non-artist brains. They're wired differently. And if we are hardwired to be self-critical and cruel to ourselves, that can be changed by changing what you do. Your brain can relearn how to think about yourself. And I cannot tell you how wonderful it is to love yourself and to be happy with yourself and to see yourself as a good person, because you do good. So keep at it. It's an addiction. I always think that insecurity is like a parasite. It wants to make its little rotting bed inside your heart and your brain where it can flourish and it can live well. That's like the penthouse to insecurity. You know, the more miserable you are, the bigger its penthouse, and the happier and more well-fed it is. So starve the little monster out. Don't give it to him. Be kind to yourself. See yourself as your best friend, as your own soulmate. And your entire world will change. It'll take time. You got to, persistent repetition. But you can get there. And the difference is astonishing.